Say you never heard of Krampus.
Hey, Bradley Palermo here from Grapple City Rewind. You may not know it, maybe you do, but I'm also a musician. Every year I record a brand new holiday track like Krampus or Whiskey for Everyone this Christmas, things of that nature. And then we perform all those songs live in my barbershop in Los Angeles, California. We only got room for like 25, 30 people, and some of those tickets have already gone. So make sure you grab your spot now. It's BYOB or Have Some On Me. Saturday, December 6th. Link in the episode description.
There were no reindeer games, it was all song and fame.
Volume looks good. All right. Hey, everyone. This is Aaron Fink from Grapple City Rewind. If you like what you hear on this episode, we've got an entire back catalog of 20 hours of material available. We talk about old pay-per-views, so you're not going to be missing out on anything timely. Check it out. You just might have a great time. Hit that music.
Hello and welcome to Grapple City Rewind, taking you all the way back to the iconic pay-per-views and television specials that defined wrestling history. This week we're going back to WWF No Mercy 2001, and I'm excited about this one because it takes place at the Savvis Center in St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis being my hometown, and the Savvis Center being the very first place that I ever saw professional wrestling. It's the building where the Blues play. This particular night was pretty exciting because it's when the WWF was at the end of its run, about to become the WWE, and WCW had just been bought up, and so had ECW. A lot of change going on in professional wrestling at this time. We got a lot of like big names to talk about: Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Rob Van Dam, all that cool shit, Attitude Era shit. But before we rewind to WWF No Mercy 2001, I think that, Aaron, we should talk about a little current product. This past weekend was Crown Jewel Perth, and I got to watch most of it. I've kind of been on the road a little bit, but I think we should just go through it match by match. There was some cool shit here. And some whatever shit too, but
I got something for you actually before this. Do you remember what the first wrestling show you saw at the Savvis Center was? Like who was in it and stuff? Because I'm curious.
Yes. Let's see here. I have a screenshot of the card. I just have to. It's a house show. I have to find it really quick.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. No, take your time. This is good material.
I'll just type in Tatanka because I know he was on the bill. Okay. So my first show was November 10th, 1994 at the Kiel Center, which was called, which is what the Savvis Center was called, you know, before Savvis put their name on it, for an attendance of 4,500 people. First match was Bushwhackers, defeated Well Done, Stephen Dunn and Timothy Well. The second match was Adam Bomb. Do you remember him?
Yeah, dude.
Defeated Bam Bam Bigelow.
Wow.
The third match was Jerry the King Lawler defeating Doink, which may explain some things why I have so much of an affinity for both Doink and Jerry Lawler.
Yeah.
And I think hopefully that was still OG Doink back then. I don't know. They had a lot of guys playing. Lex Luger versus Tatanka ended in a double countout. This was the Heart Attack tour, by the way. Bret Hart was not there, but Owen was.
Oh.
Alondra Blaze and Heidi Lee Morgan defeated Bull Nakano.
Bull
Nakano and Luna Vachon.
Oh, wow. That's why you like Luna, too.
Yeah. Luna's kind of peak time. There was a WWF Intercontinental title. Razor Ramon, the champion, defeated Owen Hart. And I remember, even as a 12-year-old at the time, I remember being like, there's no cameras here. There's no way Razor Ramon is going to drop that belt. You know, like I knew even back then, like,
it's still logical.
This is kind of a bullshit match. Like Owen Hart's not fucking changing, not getting that fucking Intercontinental title right now. And then there was a casket match, which is kind of
really
cool. I didn't realize that I'd seen a casket match live and in the flesh. It was Undertaker defeating Yokozuna. And
oh shit.
I was on this podcast that my friends were on called How to Talk to Your Friend About Wrestling. And I was on as a guest, just as like a musician dude who likes wrestling. And they have you bring a match and they talk to you about that match. And I brought a Yokozuna casket match versus The Undertaker. And they were kind of like making fun of me, like, because it's corny as fuck, It's like Yokozuna is like scared to death of The Undertaker,
Of
just like
course.
deathly scared. And it's just so much shenanigans. There's not a whole lot of moves. It's just kind of like, and then eventually, his like fat ass gets thrown in there, and they're like, why did you bring this one? And I'm like, this is just like, this represents my childhood, like my era. I just loved The Undertaker, and like Yokozuna was the like epitome villain of the time. And I didn't realize, like, because I'd fucking seen this match in a house show before, like.
Mhm.
It took me like a lot of digging to come up with this match card. You can find the Heart Attack Tour and some flyers, but I had to get like with AI and stuff and like go through like weird. I had to let it search like more and more. It wasn't just like a who was on this bill. It was like, I don't think that happened. And I'm like, okay, well, here's this flyer, here's that flyer. It must have been the date between the two.
Right.
And they were like, and eventually somehow in some archives or magazines, it came up with like this card, and I'm like, holy shit, it's bringing everything back.
That's
for
awesome.
me. Yeah. And I feel like I was so close, but I know I wasn't like in the first few rows or anything. But I guess when there's only like 4,500 people, that's pretty much just the floor in section 1.
Yeah.
Like for like the Kiel Center. So.
For sure. Yeah. That's great, dude. Yeah. I mean, I think the first show I ever went to was one of the Clash of Champions WCW in Las Vegas at Caesar's Palace, but I don't remember which one. I'd have to look it up. But that's cool, man. Yeah. I always love hearing about people's first shows, seeing when they fell in love.
It's funny that you asked that, because if you asked me, maybe because of this, I looked it up. But if you'd asked me this like 2 weeks ago, it was just, according to my phone, it was last Tuesday that I spent the time to find all that. So
Good timing. Well, let's indeed move on to the current product discussion. As you said, Crown Jewel 2025 in Perth, Australia was this past weekend. Well, let's just talk about the matches in order. First match was Bronson Reed versus Roman Reigns in an Australian street fight. What'd you think of this one?
Let's see. So it started off kind of fun because just watching Bronson get his ass beat by Roman.
Yeah, crowd loves Roman.
Yeah, and Roman just confidently twirling around that kendo stick. And, you
hit him with a cricket bat. That was pretty funny. Crowd like that.
Dude. I mean, it's fun to see him get his ass just kind of handed to him. Bronson Reed is a good heel, man. I don't like him. He comes off as kind of like the fake Samoan, sort of, like whatever he is. And, he's always stealing Roman's shoes and stuff. I'm like, all right, I'm ready always to hate these guys. But, like, I didn't like where it ended up. I think, the Usos interfering and all the fucking other Braun Breaker interfering is just, it's like a little too obvious. And the Usos and Roman Reigns, their struggle to, for the spotlight and for Roman to control the Usos and the Usos to get along with each other. I mean, we're just looking at at least since I've been back the last however many 6, 7, whatever years, it's just this over and over again. I feel like it's a tired dynamic with the Usos and Roman.
I mean, I get that. If I'm being honest, the match to me was just okay. There was nothing wrong with it, but it, to have a street fight in WWE, first of all, they're just not really what I picture street fights to be, because there's no blood and they only use like pre-approved weapons that aren't very, dangerous. If I'm being honest, the thing I liked the most was the very end of the match after Roman was pinned by Bronson Reed, and the conversation that he had in the ring with Jay and Jimmy. Because you're right, we have seen a lot of the dysfunction between Roman and his family, Roman and the Usos. But I really thought that the conversation that they had was interesting, because what Roman was saying was different than what he normally says. He was showing vulnerability and saying, like, I love you guys, but people think I can't do this on my own. That I can't do this without you. And that is very much like what a babyface would say. I mean, he's still being himself and he still is kind of heelish, but I thought that showed a little bit of a glimpse into something different. And I think Jay sort of going to the dark side, which I think is what they're probably going to end up doing, is kind of it's not really working for me. But this little moment at least was like, oh, okay, this is kind of intriguing. Yeah. We'll see where this goes. I'm not super. I feel like the Usos and Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker have been feuding for, it feels like 2 months. And I don't know if it's actually that long, but they just keep running into each other. And I'm a little tired of it, but at least this part at the end, I was like, oh, this is just a little bit different. It wasn't what I was expecting to happen. I was expecting him to just like be pissed off at them, and he was pissed off at them, but in a different way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I see what you're saying, but I guess I don't care about the nuance personally, because I've just seen this family feud every single possible crisscrossy way.
Yeah, for like 5 years.
Yeah, and so I'm just like, I would say keep Roman. I have no use for the Usos anymore. Like, I've seen them, blow up and fight each other and then get back together, but then get back apart, and all the bloodline and stuff. Like, I don't know. I think I give this one a D for dumb.
Oof. Okay. I guess maybe I give it like a C plus.
Okay.
But second match was Stephanie Vaquer versus Tiffany Stratton for the women's crown jewel championship. It was only 10 minutes long. I thought it was good. Tiffany, I thought, looked a bit better than I usually feel like she looks. It was just a little quick for me. It had the right outcome, the outcome that you and I both predicted and said was the right one, for Stephanie to continue climbing the ladder of success. I do like that Stephanie has a new finisher. This, I don't know what you call it, but like a corkscrew backflip kind of thing off the top rope. It's definitely a lot flashier than her previous finisher.
Mm-hmm. I like that move. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a good match. Just good. Like, not spectacular, not like Stephanie versus EO, which I think we all thought was amazing.
This was not a banger. I mean, first of all, not that it really fucking matters, but does it seem like Tiffany looks thin now, like less muscly?
I noticed that too, actually. I don't know.
She has a different physique now.
Yeah, but it happened in like a week or two. Like, maybe she just lost a bunch of water weight or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's fine either way. It doesn't really matter to me, but it seemed like she had more.
She looked a little frail.
Bony, yeah. And I thought she was kind of a little bit more musclehead before, but that's interesting. I don't know how it happened so fast. Stephanie has the fucking moves. I mean, I guess that's kind of what you were saying. But yeah, the corkscrew thing off the top, the devil's kiss. Obviously, everyone loves it for one reason or another. And
because they're all a bunch of pervs.
Yeah, right. It's very bootylicious. The match was all right. I give this, if I give the other one a D, I would put a C plus on this one.
Okay,
just because it's solid, but it's really not the best you could see of either of these two.
Yeah, I'd say I give it like a B minus.
Okay, so I'm hanging out like a letter grade below you so far. Yeah, but that's because you're the upbeat one and I'm the negative Nancy.
You're the grumpy Gus. Yeah. Well, I don't think you can be grumpy about the third match, which I mean, the internet certainly went crazy for. I watched it live, and as it was happening, I loved it. Maybe that just makes me a mark, but I thought this was in contention for match of the year. John Cena versus AJ Styles, 27 minutes. First thing I want to say is I really loved that John wrote an intro for AJ. I thought that was very sweet.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, I don't know if you caught that or
I watched the matches. I didn't watch like introductions and stuff.
So, John had Alicia Taylor do his normal, the never seen 17, blah, 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 all that shit. But then he handed her a piece of paper and it was something that he wrote for AJ. And apparently after the fact, it was confirmed that he wrote it and that people didn't know about it. AJ didn't know about it. It basically, said like he was the ace of TNA, the one true leader of Bullet Club, the face that runs the place.
Oh, wow.
Blah, blah, blah. So it was really awesome. Just an excellent show of respect. And yeah, I mean, what can you say about the match that hasn't already been said online? They basically spent the majority of the time trading finishers of their previous famous opponents. But I do have to say, the crowd was super into it. I was super into it. I thought it was great. I laughed out loud like 3 times while watching the match.
It's interesting that you say the internet like broke over or whatever, because I guess I've just been in such my own world of like travel and like I haven't been on the internet unless I posted something I haven't consumed. So I haven't seen a goddamn thing that anyone else, like I'm going in without any influence like at all. Yeah. Right.
Well, that's good. I mean, I'm unfortunately addicted to wrestling Twitter. So
Yeah.
that wrestling Twitter was excited. Reddit subreddits for wrestling were also excited. People are saying they feel like it could be a match of the year contender, and I agree. Like just the way it made me feel
Yeah.
nostalgic and just like proud to be a fan and remembering all of these great opponents that they've had, and I think the crowd certainly helped too.
I felt like it was an exhibition and people really liked it, and I didn't feel it seemed like something that should go in like the Smithsonian or something. It didn't feel like a wrestling match, like, oh my God, telling a story like a wrestling match. Because it really is just a display of all the finishers. And like, at first, I mean, John hit like fucking Sister Abigail, Walls of Jericho, like all kinds of shit. RKOs were happening.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, this isn't like the kind of match that I would pin like a match of the year on, I suppose. But I understand why if it hit those nostalgic points for you, like why it would be. So I mean, I guess you'd give this like an A+, and I would go like B+ on it.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just like WWE finishers too. Like you
Christopher
had
Daniels,
Christopher Daniels, Angel's Wings. You had Frankie Kazarian's Fade to Black, Samoa Joe's Coquina Clutch. There was just so much in there that, like, if you're a smart wrestling fan, you're like, oh shit, I know that move. Oh shit, I know that move.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's very marquee. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Like maybe, and because I have such a huge gap where a lot of this stuff is referencing, like I see this stuff, but I wasn't like watching in real time. So, but yeah, I mean, it's interesting because some of these moves and stuff, I'm like looking up, like, oh, when was that happening? And it was interesting, but I don't really. I don't know.
Just an emotional attachment to it.
Yeah, it didn't make me feel like that much. I was like, because they do the finisher, and then it's like both men are down for like the next like 45 seconds.
Yeah, or like 1, 2, and they kick out. There were a lot. This match was basically nothing but kicking out of finishers, which sometimes is good, sometimes it's not. I would say in general, people tend to kick out of finishers too much in modern day wrestling, but that's just me.
I didn't get to see whichever match came after this.
Okay. So
my plane was they were trying to get me on the plane at that point, and then I figured I only had time before we met up for one
watch
match,
the main event.
and I picked the main event. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the next one.
Yeah, it was Io Sky and Rhea Ripley against the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane. This was another 20-minute match. Obviously, crowd is super into Rhea because she's in her home country. It was fine. Again, like I personally didn't think so. Io and Rhea won, and to be honest, I kind of wanted them not to, because I felt like now there's nowhere there for the story to go. You know, like they already beat the heels, they're family now. It was good again. Yeah. So, on TV for the past few weeks, I really like maybe even a month and a half, Asuka and Kairi have been trying to get Io back on their side, but they've been treating Rhea like shit. And eventually there came a point where Kairi and Asuka betrayed Io and gave her the poison mist and beat her up. And the story that they're trying to tell is that Asuka brought Kairi Sane and Io Sky into WWE. She's sort of like their mentor. The story itself has been fine. The match, of course, they're all really good. Like, you can't say anything negative about the in-ring work. I just felt like it was a pretty typical tag match. Io's in there for a really long time, getting the shit beat out of her. They do the hot tag to Rhea, and then it all just kind of gets messy, and then eventually I think Rhea hits Kairi with the Riptide, Io hits Kairi with the over the moonsault, and then the match is over. So it was fine. I'd probably give it like a B, maybe a C+.
We'll be back after a quick break.
And this episode has been brought to you by Weber for Law, your tag team partner when life body slams you out of nowhere. If you've been injured in an accident, motorcycle, car, dog bite, slip and fall, or even if you've been hit in the head with a flying steel chair, these are the guys to call. They've got knockout reviews on Google, a killer track record, and they always fight for the win. I can testify to that personally. Weber for Law took care of me, and they will take care of you too. Don't wait. Visit weberforlaw.com. That's WEBER, the number 4, weberforlaw.com or call 818-502-9200. That's 818-502-9200. Weber for Law, your tag team partner when life body slams you out of nowhere.
This next match, Cody versus Seth, I thought was excellent. And I know there wasn't a lot of build to it, but I thought that there was something, even though it seems like kind of no stakes to have a champion versus champion. Who gives a shit about
the Crown Jewel Championship?
But they really made it seem like, Seth has something to prove, that he's lost to Cody so many times. And he comes in super frustrated and the crowd's chanting everything.
Calling him a wanker.
And they're singing CM Punk, and he seems like he's coming unglued, and he's getting his ass beat by Cody for a while. And then I was thinking, there's a little like Seth gets back, he gets a little bit of heat back, and he starts doing a little Stardust mockery, and he tries to pull a bionic elbow, like kind of stealing Cody's own moves from him. And I was thinking this match should end in Cody getting his ass beat, but I wanted it to be by disqualification. I wanted Seth, because I was thinking that the whole Vision and all these fools are going to come in. I knew it wasn't going to be a clean finish, and I knew that it probably was going to be Seth winning, and that it kind of had to be, but it just went back and forth the way that I like a wrestling match to go back and forth. And the near falls and the finishers and the doing each other's moves on each other, doing their signature moves and their finishers off the fucking top ropes when it's usually done on the mat. And the crowd was going nuts. And I just felt like this was the first time that I cared about what Cody Rhodes or Seth has done like in a couple months. And it was fun for me. I mean, and the disappointment at the end when Seth, hit Cody with a Rolex watch that Cody bought him for WrestleMania 41 or whatever WrestleMania it was disappointing, but at least it made me feel something. Like it made me feel something pissed off about Seth, which, I kind of needed a reason to like hate this guy again. Cause it's something besides just CM Punk and Seth over and over again or whatever. So I dug it. I mean, I go A on this one.
Yeah, I think I agree. I mean, I have small minor gripes like hitting Seth with a crossroads off the top rope and Seth kicking out.
That's
feels
crazy.
A little ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it's a really good match. It had, as you said, a lot of back and forth. I think that even though there was a minimal amount of buildup leading up to the match, that the match itself amplified all of those little breadcrumbs that they had already laid out, like the crowd helped too.
What about that coast to coast move?
Yeah, I was just going to say that Seth's coast to coast was pretty wild, and it looked like he really did hurt himself. Like he was really selling his left arm afterwards.
You don't normally do that one. Yeah,
I was like, I hope he didn't tear his tricep. But the way that the match was steadily, the stakes were getting higher, and I actually feel like I was pretty positive that there wasn't going to be any outside interference because of, I think, what had happened on SmackDown or Raw this past week. Plus, I think there was a little thing you might have missed during this pay-per-view where I think it was after the Bronson Reed match, they had a little backstagey thing with Bronson, Braun, and Heyman.
Yeah.
And Heyman was basically like, when Seth goes out for his match, you're going to stay right here. You're not going to do anything. I assumed that it would end. I mean, when Cody hit him with that friggin' crossroads off the top rope, I was like, oh shit, Seth's going to lose. So they got me. They definitely got me, but he kicked out and it ended how we assumed that it should, which is Seth needed the victory to not be 0-4 against Cody. And he did it like a heel. He used a watch. The ref's attention was turned away, so he cheated and he won. I think it was the right call.
I liked when Seth towards the beginning had Cody in a figure 4 leg lock, and he was like,
which Cody likes to do,
just like Ric Flair how Ric Flair beat your daddy's ass.
Yeah, I like that too.
Like the shit talk, but they're also referencing shit from 40 years ago. So I love that.
Yeah, no, it was a super solid match, and honestly, none of the matches were bad. They were just good. There were only a couple that were like great to me, but I had fun watching it. And I think after we are done recording here, I probably got to watch Bound for Glory and see what's going on there, because I was excited about that and I totally forgot about it until just now.
Oh yeah, I would watch that.
And now it's time for the rewind.
Alrighty, so we're here to talk about No Mercy 2001. This took place on October 20th, 2001. From the Savvis Center in St. Louis, 15,000 plus people in attendance. We had Jim Ross, JR, and Paul Heyman on commentary.
Yeah.
The video package before the event started was pretty funny. The typical low timbre voice guy talking about an arrogant man, a confident man, an angry man. And I thought it was pretty funny. I also laughed out loud when I heard the song for this pay-per-view, which was Click, Click, Boom by Saliva. Could not be any more 2000s than that.
Jeez. I was working in a record store in 2001. I remember that fucking record.
Yeah. Oh, boy. That Saliva, they were like a one-hit wonder, or maybe like a two-hit wonder. So,
come on, Dale. Go on. Sorry, Dale is crying.
So no, you're good. Poor Dale. So the first match of the evening, starting out hot, it was the Hardy Boys accompanied by Lita versus Lance Storm and the Hurricane, who were accompanied by Ivory and Mighty Molly. And this was for the
That's Mighty Molly.
This is for the WCW Tag Team Championship. I guess really quick, I'll just say, as you mentioned, WCW and ECW were now defunct by this point. They had been purchased by WWF outside of Storyline, and then in Storyline also had been purchased by WWF, except Shane McMahon, Vince McMahon's son, was the person who, quote unquote, purchased them. And so WCW and ECW wrestlers had formed a group that they called the Alliance. And actually some WWF wrestlers had come over to the Alliance as well. So it was, I wouldn't say it was like the best invasion angles that's ever been done in wrestling, but they were certainly trying their best.
Can I mention there's a kind of a problem with this WCW purchase, is that they bought the back catalog and the IP, but they didn't have contracts with the wrestlers, because the wrestlers were under contract to AOL Time Warner. So most of the wrestlers had the option to continue their contracts from the luxury of their house for years to just get paid.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
And some to their detriment, right? Because like Lex Luger and Elizabeth just sat around and did drugs until Liz died, right?
Yeah.
But so at this point, Goldberg, Sting, Nash, Hall, Hogan, Flair, Steiner, Stereo Jr., Luger, and Savage were all taking paychecks to not work for WWE. And Booker T and DDP were like, fuck that. I'd rather be on TV working.
Yeah.
I'll take a new contract.
Probably for less money, much less money, I assume.
Yes, I think it's just probably a career decision where you want to work or you kind of just chill with the money. But like some of these guys, like Sting never showed up until 2014, so I don't know how long he was getting paid, but probably that whole fucking time. And Luger and Savage never actually ever wrestled again. And then I think the rest of the guys I mentioned, Flair, Steiner, Mysterio, obviously, they showed up at some point, but like it was when their contracts. So they had this invasion, but they didn't actually really have the wrestlers to represent WCW.
Yeah, it was, like I said, it was kind of force fed down the audience's throats. It wasn't genuine. The crowd was still excited and enjoyed, seeing what they saw. And this first match, as I mentioned, was for the WCW Tag Team Championships. The Hardy Boys were the champions, and Lance Storm and Hurricane were representing the Alliance. Hardy Boys still representing WWF. Very fast-paced and exciting opening match. The crowd is super excited. The Hardy Boys, by this point, I believe, had a bunch of tables matches, TLC matches. So, they were over. Crowd loved them. And my God, the crowd loves Lita. Holy shit.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It was, again, like a very standard tag team match from the 2000s. Lots of tag team moves from the challengers, tagging frequently, double teaming Jeff, taking every opportunity to keep Jeff in the corner. I just was marveling at how great the Hardys were at their peak. And of course, they're still wrestling today. literally tonight they are wrestling the Dudleys, and they are the TNA and the NXT tag team champions. And, you know, as you can imagine, 24 years later, they're not moving as quickly as they used to. They don't do as many of the high flying moves that they used to, but they're still very impressive today. So a testament to them to be lasting 25 years plus.
I felt like this was a treat to see the Hardy Boys in their prime. I think it feels so they fly around through the air so much, and you see that a lot still with like luchadors and stuff.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel, usually when guys do that shit, it just doesn't feel as spontaneous. It's like for them, it's like they're just in the middle of battle and they pull this crazy high flying shit out of their ass.
It
and
feels very natural to them.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. It's just when I watch this, I'm like, I don't think I really understood. Like they might be the best tag team that ever was, right? And I'm sure a lot of people say that.
Yeah,
in at least in like the high flying kind of way.
Absolutely.
Obviously, like the wrestling that we watch from the 90s is just a totally different style, and there's some cool like brawler types. But this was for their style. I don't know if it's anyone's like come close since, and I know they probably influenced everyone else. So it was cool to see it. That superhero gimmicks are always dumb for me, like the whatever this guy's name was, the
Hurricane. There's a hurricane.
The Hurricane and Mighty Molly, but I know Mighty Molly's music from the video game, and I was excited to hear that. And she has a very like cartoony intro, like this is Mighty Molly or whatever.
Yeah,
and.
You know, Hurricane's backstage in WWE now. That's Shane Helms.
Okay.
He's an agent and producer. He does, I think he might even, I can't remember. I think on WWE Unreal, they said that maybe he's the one that times the show out or something. But
dude, great. I mean, he was great in this match too. I just don't like the fact that he looks like the Green Lantern or whatever.
No, it was a terrible gimmick for sure.
Okay.
But yeah.
So should we move on to the second match?
Yeah, I would just say the Hardys win with a twist of fate and a swanton bomb to retain. And then,
and someone asked me today, actually, they said, I listened to your podcast, but who the fuck is Meltzer? So Dave Meltzer, which I would think most people listening, unless you're just like listening because you're my friend and you don't really watch a lot of wrestling or whatever, is the guy that writes the Wrestling Observer newsletter. So he's been judging and rating every single wrestling match since before Aaron and I were even born. And back then he was kind of like the authority on if your match was good or not. Now he's kind of sort of questionable.
Past his prime,
Plays favorites kind of with some companies like AEW, maybe more than like WWE, and like favors like more Japanese stuff than American style. So, if Will Ospreay farts, it's a 5. If Cody Rhodes like hits a crossroads off the top rope, it's like
it's a 3.
Well, yeah. So that's how that is.
To Dave's credit, he's maybe gotten a little biased in his old age, but Dave is pretty much like a savant when it comes to wrestling matches, events, and history.
As a historian, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, he knows a lot. He's probably, I assume, the type of guy who you could be like, what were the finishes of the house show on October 17th, 1985? And he'd be like, oh, this, and this. Like he just got so much knowledge.
And whenever there's a wrestling documentary, it'll be a lot of legends, and it'll be a lot of people that you've seen on TV. And the one guy that isn't a wrestling personality that's always on there is going to be Dave. So he is a wrestling authority, and it's more so than anyone else that's ever not been in the ring and done this. But and he also has a kind of a, maybe not as much as Russo, but he has kind of a legendary beef with Jim Cornette, who's a big wrestling podcaster, former manager, and all that stuff. So I don't know. Yeah. There's a lot there. But match 2. Oh wait, Meltzer's rating was I always have you guess.
3.5.
2 3/4. It's so specific, Let me just be a 3. Match 2, finally, it was a singles match. Test versus Kane. I didn't know a whole lot about Test.
Oh, really? I knew Test with. So this is like prime time Aaron watching. I was 12 when this came out, so yeah, I remember Test.
You got 2 heavyweight brawlers. Obviously, Kane is fucking
2 big
huge.
Meaty men slapping meats, as Biggie likes to say.
Yeah, Kane even manages to hurl Test over the top rope. I mean, showing crazy strength. Test gets a little bit of blood on his mouth.
Did you see my old pal Nick Patrick, who managed? He missed Well, he missed. I don't know. Test smacks Kane in the face with a ring bell 2 feet in front of Nick Patrick.
Right.
And he just doesn't do anything.
It's supposed to be like the body of. I was like, is it supposed to be that because he hit him in the back of the head and the refs on the
I
other
don't
side
know.
facing him that he didn't see that he's
I
running
don't
from behind?
know.
And then I was
I
like, no,
assu-
he's just a shady ref, dude.
I
That's
just
his
assumed
gimmick.
it was because Test was in the alliance and Nick Patrick, if you noticed, was wearing a WCW referee shirt. So maybe it was like the same shtick
yeah.
where he's like favoring his own wrestlers, quote
Dude,
unquote.
the ref outfits are so bad in this. They're like little gray, like t-shirts, like ringer t-shirts with like red rings around the side. I'm like, this is like a bad like softball league t-shirt. Like, this ain't a fucking ref shirt. I have complaints about a lot of ref shirts in different eras. Like I have my favorite ref. I like the blue shirt with the black
with the bow tie. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
I
Saturday Night's Main Event.
I like
outfits.
that, but I don't
Yeah.
like I don't like the modern one with like sort of like the racer stripe on one side.
Mhm.
Like, anyways, Kane manages. I thought you would like this, Aaron, to choke slam Nick Patrick after the match.
I did like it.
twice, right?
I liked it a lot.
So that was well deserved. But
And a powerbomb.
but yeah, Test wins from using the ring bell, and then Kane gets his fucking revenge.
I will say before we move on that Test was unfortunately one of the WWF wrestlers who died very young. He was the age of 33 and
Jeez.
died 8 years after this pay-per-view. I don't remember why. I think maybe it was an overdose or something.
Oh wait, he died. He was 33 at this time, or he died?
No,
at 33?
he was 33 when he passed away.
Oh shit.
So yeah, he died of an overdose, painkillers and steroids, unfortunately.
Yes, a lot of wrestlers died of alcohol and painkillers. I mean, when I watch these
Yeah.
documentaries, and I don't know, man. I guess they've changed something because it seems to happen less now than when you look at these old days wrestlers. If they make it to 50, it's like a miracle.
It's just, they take better care of them now. There's a lot of protocols in place that I don't think really allow that type of behavior anymore.
Right.
And it's a good thing. As you said, Test won the match. Test actually got a chair. It backfired. Kane picked up the chair. Nick Patrick grabbed the chair from Kane. Kane chokes Nick Patrick and throws him. Test hits him with a low blow, the big boot, and then gets the pin.
Speaking of drugs and Test, did you read that Andrade tested dirty 3 times and in a 3-strike rule got fired from WWE? That's why he's in AEW?
No. Oh my God. Do we know what he tested for?
No, because testing dirty could be anything from performance-enhancing drugs to like narcotics, right? So
Probably marijuana too. If they
no. I looked it up. They
you did? Okay.
WWE allows alcohol and their wrestlers to use alcohol and weed.
Wow. Okay.
So it's
Too much cocaine.
It could be coke, but we have no way to know if it was just. It could be also just performance-enhancing stuff,
Yeah, he is a pretty beefy looking dude.
Kind of, but he's not the big.
He's not huge, but like he's.
You're like. I also heard that Brock Lesnar doesn't have to test. That he has like a no.
Oh yeah.
Like he's outside of the wellness policy, which I don't have that like concrete.
I could tell
proof,
you some stories, but I won't.
You could personally.
Yeah.
Interesting.
We'll just leave it at that. Third match. The worst match on the card, Stacy Keibler versus Tori Wilson in a lingerie match. I will say, though, for the time, this is actually like not a horrible women's match. Like there were real wrestling moves in here. There was no reason why they needed to be in lingerie except to be objectified.
Right.
But also on the other hand, it wasn't like it was like the bikini contest, right? Like I feel like there are some wrestlers nowadays who wear probably about the same amount of clothing as this, but they just don't call it lingerie and they have like real matches.
Yeah.
This was, I don't know, like maybe 5-6 minutes. Tori Wilson wins with Tajiri, her boyfriend in Storyline's finishing maneuver.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to say on this one. I guess there was
there's not much.
There was like a Matt Hardy thing where, it was kind of funny having JR try to call this like a real match because he was actually trying to be like, okay, buckles under, and back to the ring,
not having Jerry the King Lawler just go like, woohoo!
Yeah, but I agree with Meltzer on this one. It was a dud. The last one was a 2.25 actually.
Okay,
also.
Yeah. That's fine. It was, Test versus Kane was just okay. Then we had Christian versus Edge, brother versus brother in
Yeah.
storyline because they're not actually
That was
brothers.
really distracting, telling me that these guys were brothers and saying it the entire match when we know they're
they look
not.
nothing alike.
And the storyline has shifted not too long after this to where they were childhood best friends. But so it's like, if you're gonna, you kind of got to decide those things and stick to them. Yeah.
Stick to your guns. Yeah. Yeah. So this was a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. Pretty fun. The ladders came into play pretty early. They were fighting in the crowd. Christian took a ladder to the nards, which, I think they made a funny comment about. And, I guess Edge wasn't going to be an uncle anytime soon or whatever they said.
Yeah.
Nothing earth-shattering. It was like a solid match. These guys are definitely giving it everything they got. The moves in the match were increasing in intensity and danger as the match went on. Eventually they start climbing ladders and doing moves off of the ladders onto the mat. Edge splashed Christian, laid out on a ladder held up by two chairs, which I think for the time had probably not been done before. Because that's the thing with these matches is they always tried to like amp it up and do things that hadn't been done before. And of course, when you see something like this now, nothing looks new because it's 24 years ago and everyone's done this shit to hell and back. But I enjoyed it. It was a pretty long match for the card. I think the second longest match on the card at 22 minutes.
I thought it was pretty brutal. I mean, ladders, spears, blood, like Edge spears Christian off the top of the ladder. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
He ended it with was the concerto on the top on two ladders?
Yeah.
His finisher with the chair. Like, I mean, there were some pretty like kind of groundbreaking things here. Actually,
yeah, for the time, absolutely.
I dug it. Christian came out and took a shot at the St. Louis Cardinals before the bell. Like, like I think I mentioned in another episode, like, you could get some real heat where I'm originally from if you wanted to talk shit on the Cardinals. So we did that. I dug it. I mean, I was just distracted mostly by the fact that Christian was Edge's brother. And just shut up, quit saying that, dude. Like, Meltzer really liked it. He gave it a 4.25, which is
nice. Yeah,
super generous. But
again, you think about it, like in its time, insane. We've seen crazy ass ladder matches before and after this, but this was a good one for sure.
And then we get into the fifth match, which is the WWF Tag Team Championship, the Dudley Boys versus Big Show and Tajiri. Is that how you say it? Tajiri?
Mm-hmm.
And Tajiri. Yeah, I mean, Tajiri seems to be the worker of this match. He's doing he's like literally doing all the work.
Taking all the bumps.
Yeah, Big Show's he's a giant and he's huge. What did I say? Why did I say he eats a gore? What does that mean?
Oh, well, that was towards the end of the match. Rhino from ECW came out and hit Big Show with his spear, which they call a gore. I enjoyed this one too. I always enjoy the Dudleys in a match that doesn't have any tables because you get to see them be like a standard tag team where, again, similar to the first tag match, there's a lot of tag team moves, where they're like constantly tagging one another in and out, doing double teams, keeping Tajiri grounded. The Big Show was the hot tag this time. And Tajiri did the green mist, I think. He misted the referee. It was fun. The Dudleys were great at getting heat. Bubba's punches always kind of look a little phony to me, but he does some hard-hitting shit. They talk a bunch of shit. I enjoy the match.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about Bubba. I like him as a commentator and as a shit talker. I mean, in the ring, I never really remember that much. I remember tables usually, but on this match, I was just kind of like, it kind of came and went,
Tajiri almost got the win, but the Dudleys hit the 3D and it's over because, and I didn't realize this until recently, there was a very long period of time, years in fact, where if you got hit with the 3D by the Dudleys, you were not kicking out. And I can't remember who kicked out of the 3D for the first time, but it was a big deal when it happened because it had been like 10 plus years.
Yeah, it's always disappointing to me still when someone kicks out of a tombstone pile driver. I'm like, no, that happens, you're fucking dead.
Yeah.
Because I guess in my era, like, he just come out, do that, and it's over. There's no kick out of that. Yeah.
That was what it was for so long. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that the first time that anyone kicked out of a tombstone in a big match for years was Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels in WrestleMania 25.
Okay.
Which is like considered to be one of the best WrestleMania matches of all time.
Yeah.
I think that was like the first time on a big show that somebody had kicked out of it. And you can even see it on Undertaker's face. He's like shocked, you know?
Because if you're lucky and you're a big star and you're over, they're going to protect that finisher for, at least in the old days. Now it's like everyone's finishers get kicked out of, right?
Yeah. Which is what I was saying earlier. It gets kind of annoying.
Yeah.
They just don't, the moves don't hold as much value as they used to anymore, I think. Tell me the Meltzer rating.
2.5.
Ooh, ouchies.
Yeah, ouch.
So the next match on the card was Booker T versus the American Badass Undertaker. And I will say, American Badass Undertaker is pretty fucking stupid in hindsight, but you know,
yeah,
he's still over with the crowd.
He comes out to like
Rollin' by Limp Bizkit.
Rolling. What?
What?
That's I don't know.
Yeah, that's about how that song goes.
Yeah. Fuck this guy up. Well, I fuck this guy up.
He comes out on his motorcycle. It's pretty funny, you know. He just like, yeah, I was thinking about coming out on my motorcycle. And they're like, yeah, sure, whatever you say, Mark.
Yeah, he's like, this is what I really wish my gimmick was the biker. So now that I'm, you know, a veteran and everything, we're gonna roll this way. And I don't know, he's still that gimmick. When he comes back, he's kind of just on his motorcycle.
Yeah, he retired the original Undertaker gimmick, so you'll never see him as that anymore. You'll only see him as the American Badass now. Short match, only about 12 minutes, but I really liked Booker T in this. You know, he attacked Undertaker outside the ring before the bell even rings. Another like hard-hitting match. I enjoyed this one particularly because, as you know, I watch LFG, the reality competition show that WWE has on A&E, and both of these guys are coaches and have been coaches the last 2 seasons. So it was nice to be reminded of their skills and in particular to see them face off against one another. Like I said, there's really nothing wrong with the match. Like, it's pretty much perfect. The crowd is reacting pretty well, but like they kind of like both guys, you know. The Booker T is definitely the heel, obviously, but once Booker T does his spinneroonie, you know, they love that. Undertaker's just being himself, but
JR called it pathetic. The spinneroonie is pathetic, which I was like, dude, that's a little harsh.
I think it's because I don't know if it was Heyman that was saying it, but somebody was calling it the most electrifying, you know, move in sports entertainment, which obviously is the Rock's people's elbow.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one, like I said, it was pretty back and forth. Booker T was giving Undertaker the typical punches in the corner, you know, standing on the middle rope. And I think he got to the 10th punch, but Undertaker grabbed him and gave him the last ride, a big old power bomb, and that was the end of that.
And Meltzer gave it 2 3/4 stars, which
that's a little low.
I thought it was a pretty physical match. The guys hit hard and seemed like a tough match. I was into it, but
you know, when I was watching it, I started thinking of like the most random question, and probably not a question that I would ever ask a real wrestler, but like when you're wrestling somebody and you hit them stiff, like where is the line between like a stiff hit and like a hit that's so stiff that it deserves a receipt? You know what I mean? Like, I wonder what that is. Cause like there were some where I was like, ooh, that was a pretty hard hit. I wonder, you know, like what qualifies as being something that deserves a receipt?
I wonder too, because like when we were kids, we had boxing gloves and you're not supposed to like try and kill each other. But like at a certain point you get hit
you always take it one punch too hard.
Yeah, you take that one and it fucking sets something off. You see red, or the guy you're fighting sees red, and all of a sudden he's like jumping on your shoulders, like throwing off his gloves, trying to punch you in the fucking face, like full force. And in a wrestling ring, I would imagine, you know, these fucking like roided up dudes.
There's probably a lot of those.
They get pissed off, and no one's gonna come in and save you because you're supposed to be in there looking like you're getting hurt. Like
Mm-hmm.
that indie match the other day where a couple months ago where somebody jumped in and some UFC fighters kid came in and like beat the fucking living
Oh, yeah,
piss out
yeah.
of some indie wrestler. And it took a minute for anyone to help because at first it just looks like what you're supposed to see. And then you're like, wait, no, that guy's face is actually getting,
Yeah, that was
caved in.
Raja Jackson, I think, who did that. Yeah, he's finally getting charged with
Yeah.
assault or whatever. Good.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a whole nother story. But like, I didn't know when I watched it at first, I was like, well, this looks just like, of course you'd sit there for a minute while dude's teeth are getting kicked in because you don't, oh shit, this is real. It takes a second. So I just always imagined it'd be a real nightmare if you got in there and you pissed somebody off, even if you didn't mean to, and they just started really fucking shooting on you, Like,
Right. And then you're like, oh, well, there was my receipt for whatever the fuck I did.
yeah. And I'm sure, like, especially in the early days, like, there were probably guys that wanted to pull one over on a promoter, take a championship. They weren't scheduled to win. There were
Yeah.
probably times where you had to get tough and defend, like, the outcome. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm glad I don't have to, as much as I've considered and felt like I missed out on that part of my life of learning to be a professional wrestler. I'm glad I don't have that struggle to worry about.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of nuance to this type of stuff, but what can you do? So I guess technically that was considered a main event somehow. I don't really know why, but one of the two real main events in my mind came next, and that was Chris Jericho versus The Rock for the WCW Championship. I love Jericho's Y2J entrance. I think it's always been great. Personally, I'm very excited to see if we're going to hear that in January in Riyadh when they have the Royal Rumble, because I have a sneaking suspicion that
cool.
Jericho is done with AEW. Obviously, the crowd is very much in love with The Rock. This was probably match of the night for me. I don't know about you. I think it was the best match on the card.
This was amazing. Yeah. I thought to see Chris in his prime is just a real treat. I think he's definitely kind of damaged, I think, his legacy a little bit by staying in too long.
Yeah.
But he works that in his own way, in a kind of a heelish way. He gets a lot of please retire chants nowadays and stuff. But he was really fucking good. Just like those spinning kicks in the air, whatever the fuck. It's like crazy karate shit. I mean, and obviously the lion salt. I don't know if he does that anymore, but that's a cool move. Yeah,
it just doesn't look as good, but he's still good, but it's just not the same. He's bigger, he's older, and he can't move as quickly as he used to.
To me, I mean, The Rock has the charisma, right? But Jericho, I felt like Jericho was the treat of this match for me, and it was just it was just a good back and forth all around. It's not taking anything away from The Rock, but I was like, damn, I really do understand why Jericho, despite, how he comes off now, is still just a fucking name to be reckoned with in wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I really, one thing I enjoyed that came from the commentary, JR was commenting about how The Rock was pinning Jericho. And he was like, he's putting more weight on the abdomen than the shoulders, and talking about how like the fatigue of the match comes into play. And it made me remember that even when I was younger, I always appreciated that type of stuff in commentary because it was logical. It sort of grounded what we were seeing in reality.
Yeah.
So this was just an example of that I thought was cool, was worth pointing out. And as you said, Jericho, fantastic. Rock, very charismatic. And honestly, Rock's wrestling, just the in-ring stuff itself, was better than what I remembered. I used to kind of not like him as a wrestler when I was younger, like in my late teens, early 20s. I was much more a fan of like a Shawn Michaels or people who really had like a great work rate, an in-ring work rate.
Yeah.
But I think now I can appreciate that Rock was good at what he did, and even with The Rock being the crowd favorite, like when they walked out, this crowd was kind of split. Like they were rooting for Jericho quite a bit. Certainly by the end, it was probably 60-40 Jericho.
Yeah. what was it? Stephanie interfered and ended up getting rock bottomed.
Yeah, Stephanie brought a chair. We couldn't really tell who she was bringing the chair for, and she got brought into the ring, like dragged by her hair into the ring and rock bottomed by the Rock. And while the ref is checking on her, Jericho hits Rock with like a face buster or some kind of like front Russian leg sweep. Rock's face hits the chair. Jericho gets the pin, and Jericho wins and is the new champ. I gotta say, I didn't see this coming, and I feel like a lot of what we watch, we don't tend to see world titles change hands. Like
Right.
I just so far in the 20 things that we've watched, not a lot of world championships
Yeah, I was
change
surprised.
hands. So this was fun.
And this was a historic changing of hands because it was the last time the WCW big gold belt would change hands in its lineage.
Oh, really? Because they stopped calling it the WCW Championship and called it the World Heavyweight Championship. Is that why?
It would get unified. It would get unified with the WWF title in December of that year. It was Jericho. I think it was like a triple threat match. I forget who else was in it. Maybe Stone Cold or someone. But I was curious. And then they brought it back as the world heavyweight, but it was still the same look. But that was like a couple years later, and it lasted like 10 years. But yeah, it was like kind of a new lineage, and then it disappeared again, and then sort of now it's
Came
like
back,
in spirit.
kind of,
The world
yeah.
heavyweight title is on Seth Rollins, and it's like kind of big gold belt looking, but the WCW championship belt, died with this reign that started with Chris Jericho on this night. So it's kind of
Crazy.
relevant.
Yeah. It's super interesting.
And Meltzer gave it a 4.5 stars.
Good for him. This was a terrific match for sure. But we still had one more to go.
We did.
And this was Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Kurt Angle versus Rob Van Dam for the WWF Championship. I gotta say, I didn't really understand the story here. Like the video package felt kind of confusing. I guess Stone Cold is part of the alliance, so is Rob Van Dam. Maybe Vince is trying to sway Van Dam to the other side. I couldn't really tell where Angle's loyalty lie. I guess he's WWF side.
He just likes the suplex, man. He don't care. As long as he gets the suplex.
Fucking Austin's entrance was not the entrance I grew up with. I was like, what is this shit? Like different glass break, different music. I did not like it at all.
I don't usually love triple threat stuff, but like I don't really love giving me a main event after I just saw a good main event. Like I just saw The Rock versus Chris Jericho, and it was fucking awesome. And now you're giving me, thank you for giving me Stone Cold Steve Austin, because it'd be disappointing if he wasn't on the bill on an Attitude Era show, like some of the ones when he's injured or whatever. And Kurt Angle and Rob Van Dam like tear it up too in the ring. But like I don't care about the convoluted storyline here. I don't need more wrestling at this point.
Vince
and Shane interfering,
It was just like foot on the gas, 100 miles an hour the whole time. I feel like Rob Van Dam was definitely the crowd favorite of the three. And it kind of felt like Austin, even though he got a good reaction when he came out and did a couple of things, it really felt like Austin was the heel here.
He's supposed to be kind of like slipping. At the beginning, he was the desperate man.
Right.
He'll do anything to maintain relevancy. Stone Cold is kind of like, I guess he's kind of like the Sex Pistols of wrestling. Like he made like enormous impact, but he wasn't in there very long, right?
Yeah.
I mean, his career ended at 37.
And I think it ends like in the next year or two.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, this had a weird ending. Vince came out, hit Austin with a chair in the head, triple threat match, no disqualifications, busts him open. RVD hits the frog splash on Austin, but Angle breaks up the pin. And then Shane comes out and attacks Angle. Vince attacks Shane. Stone Cold hits RVD with a stunner and retains.
And that's the pay-per-view.
Yeah, 15 minutes on the triple threat, which was again kind of weird. Like we just saw like a 25-minute Jericho Rock match, and then at a 15-minute triple threat. Like,
yeah, Meltzer gave it. What do you think Meltzer gave it?
Probably like a 3.5 or a 3.25.
Exactly, 3.75.
Oh, okay.
You were close.
Wow.
Though.
That extra quarter.
Yeah. So let's go for the Grapple grade, our rating system. for these pay-per-views is pretty straightforward. Fast forward play or rewind. Fast forward being boo, play being yay, rewind being 2 thumbs up. Aaron, this one was your selection, so let's start with your rating if you don't mind there.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm torn. I'm torn between rewind and play. It was pretty solid. It was not too long. A lot of solid matches. I'll give it a rewind. I'll say this is pretty great. Got to see a lot of good people that have endured the test of time. Some are still wrestling today. Some burned out in a blaze of glory. But it was very much a pay-per-view of my childhood. I don't know that I watched it when I was 12, but it definitely had all the people that were around when I was watching. So I'd say it's worth a watch, especially for the Jericho Rock Championship match.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to go rewind on it. I thought this was one of the better ones that we've seen in the 22 episodes. Some of the stuff we watched, we know it's going to be silly. Some of the stuff, it's like, okay, that card looks good. I hope it's actually a good pay-per-view. And this one, I think, held up. And it was exciting for me, of course, that it was in St. Louis at the Savvis Center, Kiel, or whatever it was called at this point in time. I loved also, I didn't mention earlier, but they mentioned some history about wrestling in St. Louis. Wrestling at the Chase. If you've never stayed at the Chase Park Plaza in St. Louis, it's a great classic hotel. They don't do wrestling anymore there, but back in the 60s, 70s, people would fucking put on their suits and go out to matches wrestling at the Chase Park Plaza to see Harley Race and Buddy Rogers and Gorilla Monsoon and all these guys tear it up in the ballroom. This wasn't there, but JR did make references to the Chase and to the classic era. I wasn't alive yet back then, but I have a book called Wrestling at the Chase that I love to look at. And I know that doesn't really have a bearing on if I should give this a rewind, but there was enough here for me to be excited about, enough for me to hear about. We have some really awesome matches, and I learned some things. I learned that Edge and Christian were once considered to be blood brothers, and I saw my first Stacy Keibler match. So
there you go, legs for days.
Those weren't really the highlights, but you know what I mean. And we always love to hear from you out there, the Grapple Gang, as someone referred to it last week. You can always call us at 626-657-SLAM. 626-657-SLAM. You'll get our Google voice line. Don't worry, no one's going to pick up and put you on the spot. You can just leave a message, cut a promo on us, tell us about your first WWF, WCW live show experience, tell us what we should watch. Really, whatever you want to do, anything goes. You can also email us, grapplecitypod@gmail.com, or we are at Grapple City Pod across social media, probably most active on TikTok or Instagram, but you can find us on Threads and wherever else they do things like that. Also, all these links are going to be in the episode podcast description. If you need to get a hold of us, we're real easy to find. This week, I know we're running kind of wild on time, but I wanted to touch on some. Let's see. Aaron gave Stunning Steve Austin, the original moniker of Stone Cold, of Steve Austin, some high praise on a clip we were posting, and a lot of people were chiming in to agree with you, Aaron. They wanted to tell us that he couldn't afford to work that style that we saw him working in WCW because of the broken neck at the end of '97. And he was considered a great technical wrestler before the broken neck. And then someone else thought that it was funny that he got over more than ever before with a broken neck, just over mic work and limited wrestling.
So it actually wasn't a broken neck. I looked this up.
These three people told us it was a broken. It's funny how someone else on another platform said that first broken neck changed his work. It's funny how he got over doing less.
So Austin, I don't disagree that he did get over with doing less. It was in a match with Owen Hart in SummerSlam 1997. Owen botched a sit-out pile driver. He did drop Austin on his head. Austin had a bruised spinal cord and temporary paralysis. So
Jesus
obviously not a soft injury, a very severe injury, but technically his neck was not broken.
Okay.
He did, I think, take a break for several months. Came back in late 1997 or right at the beginning of 98, because I remember this. Austin won the 98 Royal Rumble.
Had to get Rick in there somewhere. The soundboard is addictive. Once you touch it, it's hard to stop. You know,
I feel mad. I'm sort of sad that I don't have the soundboard too, but
I know.
It's
I
okay.
need to get you on the soundboard.
You are nothing but garbage, yeah.
So you can do things like that.
Thinking.
Well, that about wraps it up for this episode. But before we go, Brad, what are we going to watch next week?
Oh, is it my turn already?
It is your turn.
All right. So we are still in October. It is still Halloween time. And I don't think I've had enough Halloween havoc just yet. So this one, though, however, I have high hopes for. WCW Wait, we fucking watched it already.
96? 7? Wait, which one?
Las Vegas?
Well, there's 2 in Las Vegas, so it might not be the one.
Guerrero Mysterio. We haven't seen that, right?
We did not watch that one. We watched 96.
I psyched myself out. Okay.
It's okay.
We're going to WCW Halloween Havoc 1997 at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, your hometown.
Yes, sir.
It's got, let's see. It's got Hulk Hogan.
Listen to this, Hulk Hogan. I hate you.
Versus Roddy Piper in a steel cage match. But what I'm excited about is the Cruiserweight title, which is Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio.
Oh, yeah.
Some people say this is the best wrestling match of all time.
It's really good. I think this is the one where Rey is in the all purple bodysuit, if I remember correctly.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen this match a few
With the
times.
little question marks on it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think so.
Savage versus DDP.
I'm sure that'll be good too.
You know, it's the one with that iconic like purple and green Halloween Havoc set.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that they, I guess, play that set on the video game and stuff. And
yeah,
I don't know. I think that looks great, and it just sounds like a good old fucking time. I don't know about Hogan and Piper in '97. I like Piper though.
I do too.
So that's all the time we got for now. We've been doing this a little bit more frequently lately, so thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you soon.
Yes, catch you in the cheap seats. Adios.